G'day, Bizy from Bizy Ranch here, and today what I'm doing is I'm moving my compost pile. I'm just going to move it around facing that direction. Now we'll have a bit of a chat about the different types of composting you can do and why I've chosen this method over something else, and why in my situation on this acreage it's probably the best option for me. Now you can see here it's a little bit worn out, that's why I need to fix it up. It's not really been looked after very well. The dogs get into it, the chickens get into it, and it's a bit of disrepair, so I'm going to go and fix it up as I move it around. Later on I'm going to put some wire mesh over the top of it to keep the shade cloth up off of it and stop any other animals being able to get into it. Now in regards to different composting methods, this is a bay method. I've only got 2 bays in this one. Really I'd want to have 3 bays. The first one is you put all your scraps in there. Now what scraps we're talking about when composting is food scraps, grass clippings, shredded paper, leaves, all that kind of stuff that's going to break down and produce really good soil compost for your gardens. And the reason I'm using shade cloth on top of it as well is to try and keep that moisture in and let the worms go through and let it really break down properly. If you leave it just open, and you can do that, and it's going to compost if you've got a lot of waste in there, the top layer will dry out and you've got to turn it a bit more to keep it going. So that's what I'm going to do with my compost bays. Now you would have seen other compost machines. You can go get the tumbler ones where you fill it up and you turn it over, and it does actually break the compost and the waste down faster, but I feel like the long-term method and that long-term composting is going to get better nutrients and be more beneficial in the long run. So the other method you could really do as well, your composting, there isn't a great deal of science into it. You could simply have a pile, put all your grass clippings and a whole heap of stuff there, throw a tarp on top of it. It's going to sit down there under that there, under the tarp, keep all the moisture in, and it's going to break down and produce a lot of good compost there. If you want to turn your compost, the method here really in the bay method, so that the idea behind the bay method is that you put it all in the first bay. Once it's ready to turn, you flip it over and then you put it into the next bay. Turns it over and lets all that compost move around and break up more evenly. And then really for the third bay, which what I would like is that once it's finished composting in the second bay there, I flip it over into the third bay, and then that's the composting that I'll be using for my garden. Time frame for composting in this type of method, maybe you're looking at about, well it really depends on what you're putting in there. For me, I usually leave this compost for about 4 months if it's just vegetables, old food scraps and grass clippings and a bit of paper and stuff like that. So the other thing you want to think about as well when you're composting is the moisture content in it. If it's a little bit dry, maybe add some more wet materials, so wet waste, grass clippings that are moist, anything to bring the moisture content up. If it's too moist, it's very sloppy, you want to use a lot of drier things, maybe some leaves or some shredded paper. Just normal shredded paper that you get after shredding lovely bills and things like that. So what I'm going to do now, anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go and move my bay around to the orientation where I want it, leaving enough space so hopefully I can put a third bay in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and sheet the top with some steel mesh that I put my shade cloth over the top of it. Alright, I'm going to crack into it. This could take some time. I'll be back in a second. Voila, the bed's compost bay is now moved. So I'll take you over there and I'll show you how I've constructed my compost bay. see if you like that method. Alright, so what I actually used for these is just some old pine sleepers. The people that lived here before me just had garden beds, little square ones around the place, and you can see that I've got raised garden beds going in along here. Alright, so this is all a work in progress. Alright, so I just took those old pine sleepers and knocked together these compost bays here. They're not the straightest, as you can see right here. A bit wonky, however this will do the job perfectly. There's just 2 bays there. Alright, now when you're coming to compost bays, whatever you got is going to work. Alright, I've seen a lot of people use pallets, like pine pallets. Actually there's pine pallets just like the one over there. Like that. This place is a plethora of tools to use and materials. Alright, anyway, back to the compost bay. You can use whatever you wish to make your compost bays out of. Yes, I know that this stuff is going to degrade over time, and you can see that they do have wear on them already. That doesn't really worry me, it's just for compost. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these wire mesh over the top of them here. I'll just show you quickly as well the compost that I scooped out of it. You can see this stuff's quite dry. So it's old grass clippings, so it's going to need some extra wet organic material to go in and fix that compost up. And I'll fix that up when I finish building the compost bays. This here I'm going to use as the first part of the hinge. It's going to be the top cover for this compost bay. Just using these U-nails to set it in place. This is why I need to get the job finished. I'm going to have no compost left. At least you girls are enjoying yourself, hey? Yeah, that's right. What I'm going to use to make the hinge on this grate here is this little clips here. Come in. They are there. Hold it against my hand so you can see it properly. They're called netting clips. So I'm just going to put the 2 pieces together. This bit is going to be a working hinge. So if you've got a tool that works with them, simply just holds the clip in just like that. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess ending off that now and then try and make a bit of a front bit for it. reshaping the shed, and I've got the shape now I need for the front. I've just bent that top section over like that. So the idea now, I'm going to fit it to here. That'll be tight, of course. That'll be my front cage. So I'm going to, again, you could use zip ties, that's not going to last very long, so I'm just going to use again these netting clips. Awesome. So that's now going to get sheeted with a shade cloth, and I'm just going to use shade cloth just like this, and now it's going to be all protected from chickens and dogs and all that stuff that wants to get into it. Alright, so I'm going to, later on I'll go and do the other bay as well, but that's how I'm going to do my composting method as such. That's the best way for here. I've got the space to do a long composting garden. But those tumblers, like I said earlier, fantastic if you have a small property and you don't have a lot of space to compost your material as much. But that's my method. That's how I've set my compost bays up as well for the best possible outcome for my compost. Let me know what you think and any other ideas that you have for your composting as well. Anyway, I'm going to finish that up and go inside and have a drink. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video on what I'm doing for my composting. I'll catch you next time.